Welcome back to the Plant Your Flag method, how to write a book that establishes you as the best in the world at what you do. In the first module, we talked about finding your flag, helping you to identify what mountain you want to plant that flag on, what you want to be the best in the world in. We're going to hone that further in Module 2. Today we're talking about which book you should write first. You actually have a lot of books in you, believe it or not, but we're going to help you determine which one to start with. So, by now, having gone through Module 1, you've narrowed down your MVP client, your most valuable prospect. Now, perhaps you haven't gotten down to one single customer avatar, one single representation of who your ideal client is. Maybe you have three or four. We're going to help you determine which of those to start with. Okay, so maybe you have three or four audiences that really need your services and know that they need your services. Here's how we determine which one to start with. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the top two or three problems for each of those audiences that we have the ability to solve. Okay, you're identifying problems that you can help the audience solve. So for audience 1, they've got three problems. Problems 1A, 1B, and 1C. Audience 2, similar thing. Problems 2A, 2B, and 2C. We've highlighted the most urgent problem for each of those audiences, however, right? So I want you, as you fill in the gaps, make this your own. As you plug in your top 3 or 4 MVP candidates, list their top 3 problems that you can solve and highlight the most urgent one to that audience. Once that's done, I want you to actually rank each of those top problems on a 1 to 10 scale. So we've created an urgency level scale, right? And this will allow us to compare those top problems across audiences. So perhaps 1 is, I need to get my car tag replaced next month, and 10 is, I need an ambulance right now. This is life or death. Okay, so for audience 1 in this example, and again, you're plugging in your marketplace information, right? This is a template. You're plugging in your information to make this real. But for audience 1, their top problem is an urgency level of 6. For audience 2, their top problem is it's their top problem, but it's an urgency level of 3. Okay, it's not that urgent. For audience 3, their top problem, this is approaching, call an ambulance level. It's an urgency level of 8. And then audience 4 is right there behind them, an urgency level of 7. Now this is subjective, but because you are educated in your marketplace, you've got a pretty good feel for these various audiences and their top problems. You can always, by the way, verify what you think is the actuality. You can verify that by going out doing surveys or having conversations with people that fit these profiles. Now, once that's done, you're going to rank those urgent problems, and as you can clearly see, problem 3B is approaching the ambulance level. It's approaching the credit fraud level. It's approaching the, hey, 5-star, this is a big 5-alarm fire. It's a problem. Okay? So that's the book I want you to write first. Go write the book for audience 3 and solve problem 3B for them. You can always come back later and solve these other problems, write these other books for these other audiences, but now we know exactly where to start. So, your mission right now. Question number 1, what are your top MVP candidates? Okay. Number 2, what is the most urgent problem for each of those candidates? Number 3, how urgent is that problem, relatively speaking, on a scale of, 1, I need to remember to get some milk on the drive home, to 10, this is life or death, my credit is destroyed, I need an ambulance, help. Rank those top problems and write a book about the most urgent problem that you can solve well. Remember, we don't focus on mediocre problems. Don't solve a mediocre problem. Well, don't become a master of mediocrity. The book that you write needs to solve an urgent problem. In fact, the most urgent problem that is in your wheelhouse to solve. All right. So this is the plant your flag method, how to write a book that establishes you as the best in the world at what you do. I'd like you to go ahead now, step back, answer the questions for Module 2, fill out the template, and in Module 3, we're going to talk about what a USP is and how we can hone yours. I'll see you in Module 3.